Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andressa.
Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andressa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show, MINISODE edition, where we're all about empowering women to live a financially free and balanced life in less than 10 minutes.
Look at that.
Bad joke.
Super
Bad
efficient.
joke. Very efficient. But we are all about creating a space for you, whether it's our MINISODE or whether it's our weekly podcast, or it's our Facebook community, our Strive membership, or all the things, our meetups across the country, whatever we're up to creating and adding value and serving women. We're all about taking a stand for women so they can create the financial freedom they want and need on their own terms. And so every topic we talk about is really almost like underneath, that as a theme, if you will, and really the mission. So we have a MINISODE here. Andressa's taking the lead here, and we'll, what are we talking about?
Listen, as real estate investors, we have to have a lot of skill sets, right? But today I'm going to share with you my the number one skill set that every single real estate investor must have. All right, Liz, let's get into business, right? What is, in my opinion, the number one skill set that every single investor should have is problem solving skill.
I was going to do a drum roll, but you didn't let me do the drum
You
roll.
did
But
it?
okay.
All right.
No, I was going to.
You do it.
I was about
Go
to.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, that's the drum. Really bad. Doesn't even sound like a drum. I don't know. I'm really bad at that. So without further ado, what is it?
Problem solving skill.
Okay.
All right. So here's why I'm saying this to you, because many times, right? Many times we face problems in our real estate career. And I don't really care if you're starting out, you started last year, 10 years ago. We just deal with problems every single week, sometimes many times a day, and in different levels. And I am firm believer that if you are growing, you are dealing with quote unquote big problems. So I want to break down for you guys how I view problems. So many times the quote unquote problems do not exist. The problem is actually the way that you look at the situation. That is the problem in a nutshell, in a itself. In a nutshell, I was trying to say it's a problem itself, the way that you look at certain things. One quick way that I would say to you how I define problem is I list the problem. Okay. Let's say my job is delayed, or I had a flooded basement and I need to install French drain. I need to replace the flooring, replace the bottom of the drywall, all of that. That is my problem, right? If I am able to put a date in front of it where that will be resolved, that is not classified as a problem to me anymore, because that is just a challenge. I consider that a challenge. Therefore, I don't stress over it. I keep like thinking about it. Oh my gosh, I should, he should, she should, whatever. It doesn't help, right? So if I put a date in front of it, it means that I am able and capable of resolving it, and it will be done. So there's a level of stress to me goes down. Another way of looking at it is that every single problem is an opportunity upside down. And, for a lot of people, they might be saying, oh, that's easy said than done. I completely agree. Many times when we are in the middle of the problem, it's super stressful. We don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. We can just look at it as a possibility of a learning lesson. But if you take a minute right? And look at it and say, okay, what can I learn from this experience? And is this a blessing to me? Is this happening right now so I can gain the skill set needed for me to achieve my goals in the future? And when you look back, all the things that happened to me that I labeled as problems in the past were actually amazing lessons that I learned that generated experience. The experience is a skill set that really propelled me to achieve my goals and scale my business. So when you look at problems, look at them as, okay, this is an opportunity for me to grow. Right now, I need to vent for 30 seconds and find that friend that can do that. But then you consciously make a choice to look at that situation in a different way. And that it's a skill set that you've got to gain in real estate. Otherwise, you're going to get super upset when things happen and beat yourself up and take yourself out of the game, because you're going to tell you a story that you're not equipped, or you don't have the skill set or the guts or the emotion to deal with that, and that's going to carry on. So taking a moment to really think, okay, I don't have that skill set right now, but I can gain, I can develop, and I can train that muscle, because that will be important for me in the future. That's one of my biggest things.
I love that.
And another thing is that, Liz, when things don't happen, that we get very upset about it.
Mhm. Things we want to happen or things we expect to happen.
Yeah, sometimes we want to, get that property under contract and the seller got in contract with somebody else, or whatever it is that you had already imagined in the closing table
Mhm.
and it didn't happen, or a partnership that you thought it would be great, it didn't happen. Different situations. I look at them, it's not pleasant when it happens. But again, I look at them as a blessing. To be quite honest, the way that I think is superior energy or spirit is looking to my future and seeing that if that serves me or not. And if it doesn't serve my life, it's not good for both parties,
Mm.
that is not going to be in my life. So I was like, wow, thank you for not, there is a reason that I don't know what reason that is, but there is a reason why that situation didn't come through. So I look at it as a blessing, and it was not meant to be on my path. That's
Oh, I
how
love
i
that.
i deal
Mhm.
with that, instead of like having to um really swallow that pill. The last thing that I would say, Liz, is that it's very challenging to look at a problem in a different way by
Yeah.
myself. And throughout the years, I learned by having masterminds and hanging out with other women that already walk the path or are in the journey with me, because then they could see my blind spots, I could see their blind spots, and when
Mhm.
they shared their points of view, that became mine too. So one of the most important things that I would say is, if you are trying to look at a problem from a different directions, but you're having a hard time, and you're saying, how come there isn't another
Mm.
way of looking at this problem? This problem sucks. It's a bad situation, period. I invite you to consider that that is a limited belief. And if you surround yourself with other people, you will find out there's so many ways to look at the same thing and having a different approach to resolve it. So to me, that's really priceless when somebody already went through what I'm going through and they can share this with me. Right. And that's the base of our Strive membership, to be quite honest. People always say, okay, but where? That's exactly why Liz and I created our Strive membership, where other women successful women in real estate can literally leverage their core genius with others and
Mhm.
really bypass that quote unquote learning curve, get the support that they need, and grow their business on their own terms. That's how I deal with problems, Liz.
Wow. Like that's, I know, I always love our chats and discussions, just between me and you, since no one's listening to
Why?
this. Because it's like, we're all about going deeper, because as you go deeper on something, you're going to get to the root cause of things. So I love where you went there and trying to encourage, all of the depth. And the thing I would just add, or just thought would be, when you're starting to see the same problem manifest. I heard it once when someone said, you're dating a bunch of people, but yet the same issue comes up with all those people. And they said,
Yep.
well, what's the consistency? And then you're like,
Yep.
oh, it's me. Oh no. And I think that's such a good point with problems, is that the same issues coming up, lack of communication, lack of whatever it is for you, become a little more observant in your life. Because if you become a little more observant and take a step back, you're going to start to see patterns, and you can constantly ask yourself, or occasionally ask yourself, I should say, is this working, for me? And you don't have space to do that. We're in the doing mode, right? We're just going and going and going. I feel like so many women are there. And I feel like I was there, and I can be there. I'm not saying I'm never there, but I think we need to stop and look at what's happening around us, especially if there's problems. You're always late. Well, is it just one area, or are you late for everything? Well, okay, that's a pattern to me
Mm-hmm.
that needs, a lot of attention. So I just wanted to mention that.
And I think
One,
that when you're
yeah,
part of of a tribe, right? I've been part, and I am part of different groups of people, um, of women that are very successful. And if I keep showing up with the same pattern, they're gonna call out. So if you are hanging out with high level women, believe me, there's no other option but growth. Growth in a beautiful way, the way that serves you. And looking at those patterns that don't serve you and say, okay, this does not serve my season, right? The season that I am in now.
yeah,
And other women won't stand for that. They will call out, and you're going to move through it so you can achieve your financial freedom goals, your other goals that you have in life. That's
I
the
love it.
beauty of
And
it.
that's really the crux of why we even created our Strive membership. And we're not just saying this because we're the leaders of it. Um, I, I, I see such an impact being made. And what's neat is that so many women have really become masterful in self-care, but yet, their financial freedom is kind of, not, needs attention, or their financial freedom is there. They're financially free, yet, they're just not taking care of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, or whatever
Yeah.
it is. And I think that's the beauty of these groups that do that. And certainly what we harness is that everyone has something to give and get on this path and in this journey. There's not one person who's got it all, I don't think. And that's the beauty of our collective support and genius and all the things we have going on with what we're offering. Yeah. Very cool.
Amen.
Amen. But
Amen
very
to
cool.
that. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know, how do you deal with resolving problems? We'd love to hear from you. You can check and post it on our Instagram when this episode comes out. Please share with us, tag us there. We will happy to hear from you. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.